From On Point Production Studios in downtown Binghamton, this is the 2017 JulyFest preview. And joining me right now, Mr. Sall. Ron is president of the Downtown Binghamton Business Association, and he also runs JulyFest, and this is the 55th annual JulyFest. To think, I was 12 when it started. I gave away my age. Ron, welcome. Good to see you.
I was 11. There you go.
Well, it's a big undertaking. You know, we've done this about 6 or 7 years now where we have the opportunity to go on what used to be Time Warner. Now it's Charter Communications on the public access channel. Give people kind of a preview and a feel for what JulyFest will hold each year. So let's talk a little bit about this one, the 55th annual. It'll take place July 14, 15, and 16 in downtown Binghamton.
Yeah, that's right. We changed the date to a little later week this year, so it wasn't conflicting with the July 4th weekend and some of the things that go on during the course of that weekend. And we're excited again. It's 55 years, and every year between Mike Carbone and myself, we try to come up with some new twists and turns. And again, we'll have about 40 craft vendors and 35 artists in the Artists in Action area that's sponsored by Newman Development Group. Mm-hmm. And Mike's got a fantastic musical lineup, but he'll talk to you about a little later.
As usual.
And this year we're going to have fireworks. I just signed the contract.
Oh, terrific.
It'll be behind the Metro Center parking lot. So anybody downtown enjoying the Black Light Band, which is our Saturday night band from Syracuse, they're just fantastic. I think they're a 13-piece orchestra, and they really, costume changes, they have females, males, singers, horns. It's great.
Little Las Vegas show.
Yeah, no matter how tired our volunteer team is, we want to watch it. So the minute they end, we're going to have fireworks this year. So come on down and get an extra little special treat this year.
Terrific. And as usual, it is a music and jazz festival, and Mike Carbone, the musical director, will join us here in a little bit. Also going to have the Parlor City 5K run again. Yes,
we doubled in size last year, and we're anticipating a continued growth. Again, our Empire Road Race Series, which is sponsored, Parlor City 5K is part of the Empire Road Race Series, where race directors of now 10 races in the local area got together, and the benefit is the more races you run, the more swag you get. It's a word I just learned last year. Swag that you get at the end of the year at the after party that we'll have in January, because our last race this year is Grace Tabeek's Turkey Trot, which she does a great job with that. That's probably our biggest race that she does. It's about 700-800 people.
Fabulous.
So we have, we've got a lot of people signed up for the race series, and we're one of the races that people like. You come to our race at 9 o'clock, and you're greeted by Mo Taylor and Ultra Vibe. They'll be performing for the racers, and we have all kinds of food. We have fun things, and we also have our special starter, Connor Ford, who's special to our heart for everybody that has ever had the joy of meeting him. And of course, the whole festival is sponsored by M&T Bank again, which we're they're the major sponsors, and they help us with the stage that the county helps us with, and a lot of the different things. It takes a lot to put together a festival, and through the generosity of them and our other 82 supporting sponsors, we're very blessed. We live in a community where there's a lot of support for the things we do.
It was interesting, before we came down to On Point, I did go to the website, which I believe is julyfestbinghamton.com.
Yes, it is.
And I happened to look at the list of sponsors. I started to write them down, and then my hand cramped up. So I didn't write them all down.
I have to type them in to get to the print people, and because we make a beautiful brochure, and to the website, and to our signage people, because our stage has in front of it, it'll have a beautiful banner that lists all the sponsors as a tribute to say thank you to them.
Now, I know a lot of people come down every year to JulyFest, see a lot of familiar faces, but for those who have not been to JulyFest previously, let's talk a little bit about the logistics. The stage will still be at the same spot, which would be the intersection of State and Court?
Yes, it will. Seems to be the best place for it. It almost dissects in half the festival, the streets, and we have craft vendors on both sides. We have festival food vendors, which, like you and I have talked about over the last couple of years, I've cut back because we have so many good quality restaurants down here. and they all do very well, and that's what we want. I mean, the idea of putting on JulyFest is showcase downtown.
Correct.
Which, since the last 3 years of Rich David's been our mayor, he's been very supportive, as was his administrations before it. But we really get a lot from them in help and support. Public Works, Parks and Recreation, and security. It's all the things that help make it, and they're great people to work with, and they get it. And it's wonderful. And so we want to showcase the downtown. It's been evolving greatly with all the students living here.
Yeah.
And we have restaurants like Binghamton Hots and Burger Mondays, Lost Dog, the Colonial, the Galaxy, Saki Toomey, Little Venice.
It's interesting, Ron. All of this comes together, and it's free.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't that
I forgot all about
something?
that. It's free.
Exactly, and it's an enjoyable family experience. Downtown is full of youngsters, their parents, grandparents, going through the different vendors and arts and crafts. And you have the artists in action. Now, where will the artists in action be? Will they be at
They'll be on both sides of
both
4th Street
sides.
at Washington. They'll be in Washington Street, and they'll be in the Metro Center Plaza.
Okay.
Which, the Metro Center is a support of ours now, thanks to Bernie and Justin Marchuska, who bought the Metro Center, and are doing some great things with it, and happy tenants, and they're very supportive of what we're doing and allowing us to do the fireworks where we are. And Bernie and Justin have always been great supporters of Binghamton and downtown.
And the old ramp is gone, and a new ground level parking lot has emerged from the ashes. So there'll be a little more parking than usual. Will parking be free again this year?
Parking in the ramps is free all day, and most of the streets will be free.
Okay.
The flat lots, I'm not sure. I don't think that LAZ will have the lots behind CVS is free, except Saturday and Sunday. I think Friday's the glitch. Contractually.
Yeah, because you got
contractually.
Yeah, my son actually has a designated parking spot there as well.
But we have more parking this year than we did last year. Now that the new flat lot, where the other lot, which was an interesting thing, we got a minute to talk about it. They took the lot down, and people didn't realize the beautiful vista of these gorgeous architectural buildings. The original City Hall.
Sure.
And and what a great
Stephen
job
Square is a beautiful building.
Bruce Boyer does with Security Mutual,
Gorgeous.
keeping it lit and well maintained, and the Kilmer Building and all the buildings that we have.
And Bruce is a great guy, and I know he's one of the sponsors again this year as well.
Bruce helps everybody.
Very community-oriented guy.
Wonderful man.
And brings in the Black Aces every year for that golf tournament, and I've had the occasion to play in that as well. And Bruce is a terrific guy, and I run into him once in a while at Cortez's on a Wednesday night. Ron, let's talk about the Kids Art Zone, certainly one of the more popular destinations during JulyFest.
Yeah, I run down there quite a few times during the festival. It's kind of cute to see. This is where parents can drop off their kids so they can shop at the craft vendors, or they can look at the beautiful art and buy beautiful art. And it's sponsored this year by the Community Foundation, Diane Brown and her gang. They just, they stepped up big to help us out. And of course, the Art Zone is run by the Magic Paintbrush Project, and everybody's favorite, Jen O'Brien, who she's the one that did our space at Recreation Park. And if people have not had a chance to see the amazing thing that she put together with the help of the city and many, many generous donors, it's amazing. It's one of the most interactive parks for kids of all abilities. To see kids that can't walk be in a swing, and kids that have never been able to walk or talk, to be able to enjoy themselves, and that's our Jen O'Brien for you.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful location. Everything's padded, and it's just a magnificent.
Done to perfection.
It really is, and I've had my grandchildren there because I'm that old, and had a great time over there and got to ride the carousel. So everybody was happy.
And again, the Community Foundation helps us this year. They're just wonderful. Diane Brown's been an old favorite of mine for many years, and of course Saturday, again we have our race. And again, Chemung Canal Trust is the major sponsor, and we have 23 supporting race sponsors.
Wow.
So we get a lot of support. Too many to stand here. But our website lists all our sponsors and what they sponsor, and all our craft vendors, all our food vendors, and all our artists. Many of them with websites, links to their websites.
Oh, terrific.
So you can spend a lot of time seeing what they have. I mean, there's some very talented people. We have somebody come from Philadelphia, Florida, quite a few from New York this year, and the artists and the craft vendors. And what's beautiful is a couple years ago we had art students at SUNY Broome came as a community,
Oh.
about 10 of them in a double tent, and 5 of them are back because they did so well. You know, a lot of these kids don't know that their work is good enough to show, and
Very
that people
nice.
would like to see what they do, and so they're coming back because they've done well
think
at the
that's
show,
great.
and that's great. That's a home run for me.
I think one of the keys, and we'll talk a little bit about it when Mike's up, but having the link at the website. Now, you may not have heard of many of these groups. You may not have heard of any of these groups, but when you can get a link, you can hit the link and actually they'll put videos of their work up there, and you can, what kind of music and the style, and you may say, hey, I want to come down and I want to check these people out.
And a lot of the artists, too. So you can see some of their artwork and get in touch with them. What's interesting is some of them say they don't sell a lot at JulyFest, but they get commission work. People looking to have them do a special piece for them. So they're the first ones to come back as the artists.
Oh,
They're
that's
all-
terrific.
Yeah.
Now, one thing we should talk about, 2 of the most important things, outside of the sponsors, obviously, in the music, are obviously volunteers.
Yes, sir.
Are you recruiting volunteers? Could you use more volunteers?
Absolutely. We guarantee that you'll have a great time. We help the artists unload because we have built tent communities for them. So their cars, they drop their car and we unload for them and help them set up because they all have to use some kind of a background. And it just makes it a lot easier for them, and it gets them quickly set up, and it takes the worry out of it for them.
And I'm assuming that if somebody wanted to volunteer all 3 days, that's available, but they could only make it 1 day. You would certainly do that as well.
Anytime we'd be happy to have you.
How do they do it? How does someone volunteer?
Go to our website
Okay.
at JulyFestBinghamton.com or call me direct, Ron Sall, at 607-427-7780.
Well, JulyFest will be great again this year, July 14th, 15th, and 16th. Now, are you going to predict your time for the 5K?
5K is
right
at
in front of the
9 o'clock.
camera? No, your personal time. How
My
fast are
personal
you going to
time?
run it?
3 weeks.
Thank you, Ron Sall. All right, we'll be back with a little bit more and Mr. Mike Carbone in just 60 seconds.